Here are 3 surprising things I learned this year as a part-time creative. Warning number 3, it's a bit of a dumpster fire. But first, let's have an introduction. Hey, my name is Allie Hames, and aside from working my day jobs, I spend most weekends and evenings growing this creative business. I'm roughly 2 years into this entrepreneurial adventure. That's a mouthful. However, I wouldn't really count 2023 as I would consider it more of a warm-up after a long hiatus. This year though, 2024, I learned a ton. Enough to fill a small imaginary workbook I would call something like How to Start a Creative Business. Hopefully by December 2025, I will have learned even more, enough to fill a second volume I would call something like How to Make a Modest Income as a Part-Time Creative. These titles suck, but you get the idea. 2024 was all about marketing, YouTube, social media, and generally upping my game in communication. Out of curiosity, I would make a daily habit of getting inside the minds of the viewers and possible clients. Quite frankly, that was a little bit exhausting. When it came to business and marketing, I found myself geeking out hard. Surprisingly, I found I really enjoyed these subjects. Overall, man, I learned a lot and I made a lot of stuff. Here's what I have to show for a year's worth of working evenings and weekends at this creative business. 16 or so long-form videos between YouTube and Patreon. Started a Patreon membership that I closed in October. Gained about 100 new followers on Instagram, though this has been a tough slog. 130 subscribers on YouTube, small, wonderful, promising signs of life. 30 or so new paintings and drawings. 50 or so shorts. I deleted a few that got too cringy. Built an e-commerce website with my partner's help. Had 2 genuine inquiries from complete strangers about commissions. One came through Instagram and the other came through YouTube. This is a big deal for me, as all prior commission inquiries have come from people I know well. Each of those projects was backed by hours of study, application, and review. No wonder I'm tired. As cool as this is to reflect on, as helpful as it is to look back and see that I did in fact make some progress, even if I sometimes don't feel like it, there are other lessons though that I learned in this creative endeavor that completely surprised me and might surprise you too. Here are the 3 most surprising things I have learned this year. Number 1, I love marketing. That's so gross, isn't it? I mean, it could be, but I don't think so, and here's why. I feel genuinely excited when I learn new marketing strategy. I take what fits, and I leave the rest. Here's what marketing means to me and why I love it. It's about building relationships. It's about storytelling and communication. I'm one of the few people out there that kind of enjoys watching ads just to critique them, to pull them apart and figure out what works and what doesn't. Learning about marketing energizes me, I think because it gives me a sense of agency. Like there are actions that I can take that will positively grow my business and attract new clientele. I'm fully aware that it's got a gross reputation, but I just don't see it that way anymore. I see potential. Number 2, I didn't run out of inspiration, and I thought I would. I was a little worried there, but I had plenty of ideas for videos, paintings, products. I thought for sure I was going to run out of ideas early on in the year. Instead, I ended up having a disgusting amount. It seemed the more ideas I had, the more were born. The greatest source of inspiration came from these 3 places: other YouTube art entrepreneurs, nature, unapologetic obsession with old stories. Art YouTubers were a huge source of inspiration to me over the past year. Whether it came to products, social media strategy, or business advice, these YouTubers lit a fire under my butt. In fact, I'll add a link in the description to a list of some of my favorite art YouTubers if that's something you would be interested in. There was a risk though. With all that video consumption, there was the possibility that I would just become a lame echo of another awesome creator's voice. So to combat this, I leaned heavily into my real-world quirky interests, like nature and books. I live in a beautiful but strange part of the world. I live in the Badlands of rural Alberta. So I spent many a happy days with my dear friend the land, just getting to know her. I find spending time in the elements totally exhilarating, and I try to include a little bit of that in everything I make. In addition, I'm an avid reader. I love old books and true stories. This year I became obsessed with pioneers, probably has something to do with the part of the world I'm living in. All this reading about the old days enriched my imagination, combined with spending time on the land, and I found that it slowly creeped into my video content and my artwork. In fact, I find myself seriously considering taking up Western art as a genre. I am, after all, perfectly situated to do so. Number 3, being 41 with no career doesn't make me the loser I thought it did. I saved the best for last. I assure you, it is not an opinion I would hold about a friend if they were in a similar situation. Like most people, I am capable of judging myself like I would never even think of judging another. I truly felt this lack of professional achievement meant I was a loser. I managed to make a kind of peace with it.
I thought, oh well, it's okay to fall behind in life and be kind of crap in areas.
It's a part of the human condition. And it was true enough in a way that I could sort of live with. Day after day, I worked as a maid or helped customers at the hardware store. Then one day while cleaning, I was listening to a podcast where 2 women discussed their careers and motherhood. It was real talk. These women were getting raw. Tears were shed. Slowly it dawned on me. I remembered the decisions I made all those years ago. And it was my decision. No cruel accident of fate. At age 23 and pregnant with my firstborn, I made a choice I knew to be right. I chose to work dead-end jobs for 2 very good reasons. My kids. I said goodbye to my blossoming career in animation at the time. Because I knew that in this life there is potential to have it all, but you can never have it all at the same time. There would be a time for careers, but the kids would grow up fast, and they would only grow up once. The more I could be with them, the better. Now that my kids are in their teens, it feels like a good time to dive back into my career. I have no excuse. But without this emotional garbage nonsense about being a loser, at 41, I am only just beginning. There is time for developing excellence, contributing to society in new and creative ways, helping my family, and setting a good example to my kids. And this is what surprised me the most about this journey. I knew I'd learn a ton of new skills, but I didn't expect to heal that old festering wound I didn't even know I had in the process. Reflecting on my adventures of 2024, even if this career path doesn't work out the way I planned it to, I don't regret taking this journey. I earned a little extra money, which was needed, and I learned new skills, all while gaining a bit of self-knowledge and confidence in my abilities. I could have done worse. Looking back, I can thank past me for looking after future us. Well done, mate. I have made some poor decisions in my life, but this wasn't one of them. All in all, it was a wonderfully productive year, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Thank you for sharing your time so generously. My hope is that this video leaves you inspired and encouraged to begin or continue your own creative journey.